Hey there guys, it's your girl Tinesha and welcome back to my channel Tinesha W. So today's video is going to be a story time. I'm not even sure why this was the first story time because I have a lot of hot mess stories I've been involved in, but this is going to be story number 1. So today's story is about my nasty neighbors that actually caused my family and I to move from our home. And if somebody can cause you to move, you know this is pretty messed up. So let's get into the tea, shall we? So we're gonna have to go back to the year 2000 for the story. When I was a little kid in elementary school, and I used to hang out with the kids in my neighborhood. There was a bunch of kids, maybe like 10 kids in total, and we just hung out. We're all around the same age group. Maybe like 2-3 year difference, and we all had fun. My neighbors at the time were an interracial couple, and they had 2 daughters that were my age and my brother's age, but they moved away, and then another family moved in next door. They were Portuguese. They had a son that was my age, and they had a daughter that was my brother's age. So it was pretty much like swapping out one set of kids and then swapping in the other set of kids. So eventually we became friends with those kids too, and it was just a big jolly time in the neighborhood. So I will say that the first couple of years that the family lived there, they were pleasant people. They had a dad that was a contractor. He did our kitchen. He was good with bathroom work. He did their backyard up. He like elevated that to a next level. They had a pond with all these beautiful fishes. The mother did the gardening. I'm not sure what the mother did, honestly, but I think she did something. Like, it was cool. It was chill. We used to go over to their houses. They came over to my house. Like, back then, we used to just go over to each other's houses and just take turns and just playing stupid stuff. Like, it was lit back then. I'm not gonna lie. So it was peachy then. So I remember the issue actually starting when I was in my final year of middle school and I was deciding on which school I should go to. Half of my friends were Catholic school students and wanted me to go to Catholic school with them, and the other half were public school students and wanted me to go to public school with them. And I was like, okay, which school should I go to? Like, I didn't know. But after really thinking about it, I was like, hold on. These neighbors next door are Catholic school students, which means I would have to go to school with them. And I'm just like, hold on, this is not it. So I made the last minute decision to go to public school. And I'm gonna tell you why I made that decision. We're gonna get to this tea now. So during that time, I don't know what happened with our next door neighbor, but based on what I've seen and witnessed, I'm going to assume that they just gave up in life. And I'm explaining to you why. So everything that they had was beautiful, it was nice, it was organized, but then all of a sudden it's just like they just stopped doing things that they were supposed to do. Like, I remember that we used to go over to their house and it would smell nice or whatever, but then as we kept going over there, it just had this scent to it, like an off scent, and I just thought it was their cats because they had cats. But like, the cats actually honestly lived outside for the most part, now that I think about it. Like, the cats were always outside. They weren't really inside. Like, they were always running away from something. And now I feel like they're just running away from the scent inside the house. And it just seemed like they didn't care because everything just started to just pile up in a nasty way. Like, the more times we came over as friends, the more time I noticed that there were just clothes everywhere. And like, the appearance of the house was just like going downhill. And as the years go by, it actually got a lot worse, but I'll get into that later. In their backyard, like, we had a fence. It wasn't a wooden fence. It was actually one of those like wired fences, so you can see what happens on the other side of, like, you can see what's happening next door in their backyard. So like, they just gave up their lawn work. They didn't mow their lawn. They didn't care for their fishes. Their fishes actually died in that pond. The water turned all moldy. It just went left. It just kind of seemed like everything went from up here and then went down here. I'm not sure if they had any type of mental illness, because now I'm aware of mental illness and what it can do to people. But like, I don't know what it is to explain for the entire family, because the entire family just seemed to went downhill. The kids, they didn't see anything wrong with it. They thought it was normal. And the next thing about them kids, they were unruly as hell. It's like, at first they were pleasant, but it's like the more their parents just went downhill is the more they took advantage of that. Like, they would just talk to their parents any type of way, cuss their parents out, and just looking at them like, You go say that to your parents? If I did to my parents, I'd be dead. No cap. No cap. If any of my other friends, because my friends were like, they had Caribbean parents, even if they were white, they were like biracial, whatever. Like they could not do that to their parents. So we're looking at them being minorities, like, what are y'all doing? What are you doing to your parents? So honestly, my parents saw that, but they didn't say nothing. They just probably assumed that maybe like something happened. Maybe somebody got sick in their family or somebody that they had to care for, so they just like let it slide. But then like a year, 2 years, 3 years went by, and it was the same. Like their backyard was like a jungle. Like I'm 5'2", and those weeds, those grass was my height, probably taller than me. I never seen grass taller than me in my life, but I seen it next door. Also, like over the years, we still went over to their house because their parents were away for long periods of time. Like both of their parents went to work, and I guess like being in summertime or whatever, we had the free will to go over to their house and do whatever the hell we want as kids. So I guess we kind of stayed friends with them and hung out with them because we could do whatever the hell we wanted to do in their house. But like after a while, it's like the more you stay there and the more we kept going over there, we kind of realized, okay, this is getting weird. Like this is getting weirder and it's getting smellier and it's kind of becoming unbearable. Like I remember me and my friend, one of my other friends, we went down there because we were just playing around because we're giving the girl like one of those like makeovers, whatever. We're just having fun. And then we go over there looking for something. So she's like, oh, it's in the basement. So okay, we're gonna go in the basement and get it. So me and her, we're going downstairs to the basement, and like how the house is set up is like you have the main floor, then you go downstairs, there's a den, then you go downstairs again, and there's a basement. So we went to the den and we went down those stairs, and it was already smelly in the house, first of all. And then we went downstairs. The smell got stronger, and okay, that's fine. Whatever we were looking for wasn't there, so we were about to go down to the basement. So we opened the basement door and we were gonna go down there, but then like we couldn't do it because the stench coming from the basement was so putrid. It was like I couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. It was like a force field of stank preventing you from going further that I couldn't deal with. And that was the moment I was like, we are not coming back in this house. If we want to play with these kids, we'll play with them outside. If she want to make over, we're gonna do it outside with our hoes. So this is also the next thing that occurred when it came to the kids. Is like all of a sudden they went from smelling normal and they had a bad smell to them. Like if they came around, you wouldn't even have to turn around to know it was them. You could smell them, and that was a negative, especially when it came to like coming over to one of those houses. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like the Caribbean people that I grew up with, the Caribbean mothers, they did not play. Like, I remember they came over to one of my Caribbean friends' houses that were Guyanese, and then like they just came in the doorway for some food because she would always give us food, and then we would go. Then they went home because they got called home or whatever. And the mother was like, "Why do they smell? Like they smell bad," and we didn't know what to say because we were kids. We didn't want to say nothing about it, but like that caused us to discuss amongst ourselves, okay, these kids smell. So we already knew this information as kids. We honestly discussed this among ourselves when they weren't there because we didn't know what to say. We can't be like, oh, by the way, you smell. We don't want you to be hanging around because we're nice kids. It's just that like they had a body odor. And then we found out later that they didn't really bathe. Like one of them didn't like to take baths and one didn't like to wash her hair because the girl was like, she's a girl. Girl, you need to take a shower. You need to wash your hair. Like, she was probably in elementary school, grade 4, grade 5. Doesn't matter, you need to wash your hair, girl. Like, I remember me and my friend, one of the other girls, we tried to, like, play hairdresser with her, and we were trying to, like, wash her hair with the hose. It sounds really bad. We were trying to wash her hair with a garden hose, and, like, at first she was, like, gonna, like, participate, because we're like, okay, this girl smells. We're gonna try to, like, bathe her with the hose. And at first she was gonna do it, but then she was like, no, I don't want to do it. Like, she didn't care about nothing. She didn't care about no looks, and we're like, damn it. Plan has failed. So the next occurrence that probably caused my parents to, like, be pissed off was when we threw our final barbecue. Like, over the years we threw barbecues, and like I said, we had the fence that you can see, the next door jungle that occurred in their backyard. And honestly, people in our family that came over to like, what the hell's happening over there? Why do you allow that? And my parents like, they tried to talk to them, but they didn't listen. Like, they weren't doing it. Like, I remember my dad saying that, like, I know the last barbecue we had, my dad was pissed off. He actually went there. He opened the next door neighbor's gate and took it upon himself to weed down their backyard to make it look presentable for our barbecue. Because he didn't want people to talk about it for our barbecue. So my dad, yeah, he went next door to their backyard, chopped down their grass to a point where you couldn't see it because it was tall as me, 5'2", and the fence was probably like a little bit lower than me. And then he took the boards that we had in our garage and he just lined it off to the fence, and just to like cover it up a bit to make it more presentable. But that was strike one. Strike two occurred a little later in that same night. So in the past, we invited those kids over, and all the neighborhood kids actually, to our barbecue because that's what we did. But the difference was they were outside all the time because we had no reason to go inside our house. So the wind is blowing, you're not gonna smell them or anything. But like that year, we had a game system or something that everybody wanted to play, so we went inside to play the game. So we all went inside my house, took off our shoes, went down to the den because that's where the game was, and we went to play the game. So my mom comes downstairs to like give us some snacks or whatever, or tell us to go outside or something she came downstairs to do. And she was like smelling the air. She's like, what the hell smells like that? She's like, why does it stink in here? Like, my mom has no filter. Anybody that knows my mother knows that she has no filter. So she said it in the most honest way possible. And I guess one of the guys there, like, he took in what my mom was saying because he too is Guyanese, and he was just like, it was me, I'm sorry, it's my shoes, it probably got sweaty. And he took the fault for them two kids because he probably knew that they couldn't handle it because they're not Caribbean, and he didn't want to make them feel embarrassed. So kudos to him for doing that. He didn't have to, but child, my mom knew it wasn't him. She knew damn well it wasn't him because she knows them. Anyway, after that, she just told me to get out. She told everybody to get out the damn house because she wouldn't want the area to stink. She's like, everybody get your ass outside now. And that was the end of it. Strike two. So strike three occurred when they gave up on doing things in a timely basis, like putting out their trash, recyclables, and whatnot. So they just had a lot of piled garbage and junk. And like, honestly, what I realized is that sometimes they just throw random stuff outside in their backyard for whatever reason. I don't know why or what the reason was, but that was the final straw, because whatever they were throwing out there that they rage quit just created that same smell that was inside their house was now projecting outside. And with the summer heat and the sun projecting down, you smell that crap, and it was a hot mess. And my parents are like, they weren't thinking about moving at the time because like some of our friends, like, they were moving away or whatever, and they were trying to get my parents to move too, and they were like, nah, we want to stay here for life, blah 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 blah, we gonna stay here. But like, honestly, these next door neighbors, they're the reason that we moved. Point blank period. They were disgusting, nasty, they smelled, and they didn't care about life. Honestly, till this day, they still live there because sometimes I drive around there to see what was left to be. Because honestly, even though when we moved, we didn't sell our house, we still kept it. So we had two houses at the time. So I would go over there to see what the hell was happening. I would say hi to them when I seen them and was like, okay, their jungle ways have not changed. If it has changed, but whoever buys this house next, they're gonna have to deal with this issue and the mess that they have next door. So yeah, that is my story time for today about my unruly, nasty neighbors. I do not wish this upon anybody because, child, you don't need it. Like, I feel like my nose will not forget that scent, and it has been over 10 years, and I don't know what to say. Anyway guys, that is the end of my video. Thank you for listening to this hot mess of a story. I hope you enjoyed it and found some comfort in my misery. I hope to see you back on my channel. If you like story times, put a comment down below. If you want to have an opinion about this family, put it down below. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Deuces, period.